Today, we are super excited to have on Coach Rogers and Coach Sampson, two Seattle area football coaches who go above and beyond to serve their communities. Jonathan Rogers coaches for Seattle Prep and is a teacher at Garfield High School. Corey Sampson is the head coach of Rainier Beach High. And despite the fact that these two coaches are rivals on the field, they have worked together on many issues to make their communities better, because at the end of the day, it's all about the kids. They both embody the role of coach, and their leadership styles give us an example of what we should all strive for. So thanks, coaches, for hopping on and chatting with us. And before you ask, Lexi and I did not plan our shirts today. It just happens to be coincidental. It's not like we just came from the same softball game. But I would like to just kind of pass it over to Lexi to tell anybody who's listening a little bit about how she got to know you guys and Coaches, Cops, and Coffee.
Yeah. So this summer, a friend of ours, Ben, he has this podcast called 20-Minute Talks, and he wanted to get together a group of people to talk about what was going on from all different perspectives. And he was able, on his initial one, to get the coaches, and then a couple of their officers. And then from there, it sort of just rolled into a group where we started talking more. And then we were developed an idea of Coaches, Cops, and Coffee, where we would have conversations between each other and expand to having conversations between cops and people in the community. And also we were able to do a fundraiser over the holiday that went really well. So it's developed into a great friendship, and I've been really lucky to get to know these guys.
Yeah, and I know you both just came from your respective football practices, so I know it's a busy day, super long for you guys, and we appreciate you hopping on. But I guess I'll just start with Coach Rogers, if that's okay with you. Tell me a little bit about kind of your background and how you got into teaching and coaching.
Yeah, I'm from Alaska, originally, kind of a unique place to be from. I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, until I was about 13 years old, and that's pretty urban. I mean, there's like some rougher neighborhoods, and I grew up in Mountain View, which is one of the rougher parts of that. And then I moved up to Fairbanks area, and I went to Eielson High School and lived, which is on an Air Force base. And then I lived in a town called North Pole, actually. And so that's where I lived. And that was a really cool experience and very different. And I fell in love with football. I can remember, may rest in peace, my coaches, OG, James Watson. I remember being about like 14 years old, and he said to me, "Young man, come over here. It's a place for you to be yourself." He came from Florida and tough background as well. And he really, just that one interaction really stuck with me. And I always felt like after that, I loved football before, but after that, I really felt like football was going to give me a chance in life. Other things really didn't. My family didn't have very much. 15 people in a 2-bedroom house type of situation, and just really single mom. So I really appreciated football and football coaches, and I have said football raised me. Right, that's my father. Like that's football coaches taking their time to help me develop qualities and find opportunities to build out. And so I coach, and I love the game so much because of that, right? Because of that. And then so I played football at Central Washington. At that time, so I graduated in 2003. At that time, there wasn't a lot of. It was like now with a lot of players in Alaska going out, right? Like going and playing college ball. At that time, still really wasn't a thing. I was one of the first to go and stay. A lot of people from Alaska that time would go out, play for a year, or back, whatever. So I was one of the first in our area to go out and play for 4 years or 5 years and play for really great coaches. And my first day of college football, I'm watching it, and our first practice day, I'm watching it, and I'm seeing the professionalism. I'm seeing like the organization and the skill in it. And I felt like I had this feeling that I could bring this home. I could take this home. I could take this back. Like I can do this. This is me, and I could do it. And so I thank God for football, because I don't think I would have went to college otherwise. And now after that, so I did 4 years, and then bachelor's degree and played ball, and then I went to Boston to get my master's in education, so I could teach. And it was an amazing experience as well. There was the school I worked at was in served a lot of the families in like Mattapan and other really tough areas, and they graduated over. I think they graduated like 98% of their kids. This is a school with maybe is a school of 300 or 400, one or two students who aren't on free and reduced lunch. They had 96% of those students who graduated got accepted into some sort of post-secondary training before they left. And this was just an amazing experience. It was not by accident. And so I was able to take those skills that I learned both in college football and in Boston teaching back home and be a teacher and a coach for 6 years at the high school where my family went. Like I said, a big family, coached my brothers. We literally played. I coached. I have a little brother, starting quarterback, Lou Rogers, has the most yards in Alaska football history. I got to be his coach, played quarterback. I got to coach a few other kids that were really close to my family. It's hard to even not call them family. And so that was a really cool experience while being a teacher in the school. And so I did that. And then we had some changes. And I'll be honest, I'll be frank, like racism, like my success and my family's success, but they took a shot at us. And so we had to leave. In my first year coaching up there, I really got this weird humility about like the power of a coach. I wanted to coach football. And coming up, even being a teacher's salary to me was riches from what I came from. In my first year, I was so humbled by the impact that I had on people, on young men that needed it. And don't get coached a little teary, but especially this man, Lee Jones, he's got bachelor's degrees now. He came from nothing. And I remember being like, holy cow, like, oh my gosh, the impact that I could have on somebody's life. Like, it was humbling. And so leaving there was kind of tough. And I appreciate Coach Sampson and having a second home here in Seattle, and I love it. And I'm not leaving for a while. The more people I get to know and know well, the more I like it. And so that's kind of my bio, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you for your service to the kids too. That's incredible. I'm so happy to hear that your life was so enriched by serving in that capacity. So Coach Sampson, kind of same to you, what drew you to coaching and into football specifically?
Kind of piggyback off what Coach said, growing up, moving here from Louisiana, and then, playing football just kept me out of trouble. I needed that throughout high school, because if I'd have football, then I don't know what I'd be doing, honestly. Football taught me discipline. Coaches were on me, even small growing up. Coming from a single parent house, my little league coaches would pick me up from practice, take me home, buy me coats or give me clothes or something, because I didn't have nothing. So, I just kind of like, man, these guys are hella cool. My mom was struggling and we didn't have anything. So, all I want to do is play sports. I didn't think about school. All I want to do is play sports. But as I got older, I'm like, dang, I gotta go to school to play sports. So, 8th grade, I got kicked out of 8th grade, you know what I'm saying? And then I went to alternative school. I had a counselor then. He would always say, man, you're so talented. Why are you getting in so much trouble? And I just think I was just being rebellious, you know what I'm saying? So got to high school, my first year there, and everybody's like, oh, here comes this good football player. But I wasn't really going to class. I think I had a .33 my freshman year. I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. After football season, I kind of just didn't really go to class. I kind of just messing around. Then my sophomore year, I had a come to Jesus talk with myself and my family members and my uncles and stuff. And I just started hitting the books a little bit harder. I fell behind the 8 ball, but I was going to night school, summer school. I made a commitment to graduate on time. So I actually eventually did that. I had some scholarship offers on the table that I wasn't able to accept because I didn't pass my SAT scores. So I was going to prop 48 and go to Oregon State because I signed with Oregon State. But at the last minute, my financial aid fell through. So 2 weeks before I was supposed to go to school, my financial aid fell through. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I had a girlfriend at the time, and her dad gave me like $2,000 a money order and took me to junior college. And I didn't want to let nobody down by then. I was all this big time football player. But here I am stuck in junior college. I'm like, man, I was kind of embarrassed about it. But they're like, I'm not really a student anyways. I'm just a person who play sports, you know what I'm saying? So I started buckling down on it. Spent my 2 years in junior college, end up getting a scholarship offer to back home in the University of Louisiana Monroe. So end up playing there, coming back. Was getting ready to get drafted in the draft and tore my ACL up playing basketball. So I called my agent, told him, man, I hurt my knee playing basketball. He's like, what? He's like, what are you doing? So I just went into a deep depression for like about a year and a half. Finally just kind of got up out of that and just kind of like, man, what am I doing with myself? So I went down to the football field where my coach was at. My coach always, he was there for me. He's like, man, came down a couple of times, helped the kids, had a little passion, but I really didn't want to coach. I was really still getting over like, damn, I'm not playing college football no more. What am I gonna do? I'm not playing NFL football anymore. What am I gonna do? And I remember this conversation that, man, if you really focused up, you'll be a really good coach. Man, the summer times came, I was out of there. I was like, all right, what? No part of being at practice. I wasn't being the son kid with the homies, just being out and about. So I'm like, man, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I can't commit to these kids like that because I want to have fun. I'm still young. So then I think a year later, I had one of my sons. So I get down there, we're practicing and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I can dig it, start building a relationship with the kids. I like this. They started looking up to me, knowing about my past and knowing who I was. So I really just started buckling down in it and just really started mastering my craft as far as coaching and building relationships. And them were the same kids that I saw myself growing up as who I was. So I just really just start taking to the kids that are taking to me and just becoming a mentor / coach with those guys. And that's how I really just got the ball going with coaching. I never really wanted to be a head coach, but eventually, I was just like, you know what? Everybody like, man, you're good. You need to be head coach. And I'm like, I don't want that commitment. I don't want the headache of the paperwork, talking to parents. I just want to practice with the kids and go home. And so then, I was like, man, so then, and also then I started thinking about like, man, my sons, and then I had another son. I'm like, man, my sons are getting old. I was like, my dream is to coach these guys in high school. You go, okay, I'll coach these guys in high school, play for a state championship. My kids go to college. That's what I'm thinking now. Like, yeah, because I want my kids to end up like how I was. So I just really just started going real hard then. Like, man, it wasn't no turning back then. And so, make a long story short, I ended up coaching my kids in high school. We ended up playing for a state championship. They both ended up going to college, and a bunch of kids from the community that I've been looking up to and coaching. Not looking up to, but mentoring since they were kids, play for my team, and we got a chance to play in the state championship game. I'm actually the first Black coach to coach in the state championship game as a head coach, and my kids went to college, and a bunch of other kids went to college, got them guys free scholarship offers, man. So to make a long story short, that's why I'm here coaching and servicing my community, man, because there's a bunch of other kids that were like little Corey Sampson running around with no guidance. So that's what I'm here for.
And I have to say, Coach Sampson, I've seen you like in the community that you work, and you know everybody. And I know that they don't all play for you, but it's clear that that you go that extra mile to kind of know what's going on in people's lives and make sure that they know that you're there for them. So I think that that's reflected in what both of you guys have just said and how coaching impacts you.
You guys want to know a cool little fact?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm the first Black head coach in the state championship game in Alaska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who would have known, Corey? Yeah, look at that,
Ooh, congratulations.
Yeah, me too, homie. You know what I mean? That's dope. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know.
It's facts. We sent and they don't speak about it because it's Rainier Beach High School, but we had a class of 22 seniors. 20 of them went to school, and 16 of them went on scholarship.
Wow,
so, that's amazing.
They downplay what Rainier Beach does, our community, and make it seem like we're just these renegade kids out here in this slum village. It's not true at all. My kids are very educated. I raise them right. I train them right. I train them for life. You know what I'm saying? I don't train them for football. I train these guys for life lessons. So when they leave Rainier Beach, they're ready. Well, most of them are ready for life. Some of them, well, not ready because of the statistics of it, but most of them, like, hey, I work with them for 4 years. They know what they expect when they get out of Rainier Beach High School.
I think that speaks a little bit, and I'd like to hear both of your sort of breakdown on your leadership styles. I know we've talked about it before in other venues, but I really love kind of how you guys approach leadership with your kids. Let's start with you, Coach Rogers. If you wouldn't mind speaking a little bit on your positive deposits, because I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's good to remind me because I probably wasn't positive enough today in practice. So You know, I believe that I'm a competitor. You know, there's no doubt about that, right? And so I feel like that there's a way to do things, and then there's a better way to do things, and there's a better way, right? And like what on the scale, right? Where are you? One of the awesome things about that positive mindset thing is I learned that as a coach. As a player, I didn't have it. I was sort of perfectionist and focused more on my negatives than my strengths. And you know, coming back and like learning and getting education classes, and you know, even before I started to coach, like I saw like the psychology class, I saw this truth starting to come in. So it made me be better, first of all, right? Making the deposits, making being positive. It's more effective, but it's also harder. So I think one of the things that people hear, and I was asked coach basketball, and I'm not that good of a hooper no more ball. But like the kids and like what the effect that you have on them is crazy. And it's you know, the thing about it. And then when I work with the new staff, I a lot of times will like really challenge them hard, and because it's like positive coaching takes a lot more work actually. You gotta be more prepared, you got to be more dialed in, you got to know what success looks like before it's happening and reinforce it. But that work pays off, and that is so special. One, you're authentic, right? Like you're keeping it 100. I can't say good job without a good job, right? So it forces you to look, right? Forces you to look for the best of people and tell our students, tell our people, who tell the kids, people who are going to be leading us tomorrow, like, hey, you're this. You know that? Did you know you're this tough and you're this smart and you're this strong and you got this gift and you got that gift? And so when you run around the field all day doing that, right, it starts to reinforce itself. So like the positive, to me, the deposits are important because if we're not nourishing kids, winning a high school football game, winning a college football game, I think doesn't nourish somebody. Nourished kids will win. Right. So like if you come to my practice, my classroom or anything, and it's not a nourishing experience for you as a human being, then not what am I doing? I'm not serving you. I'm saying I'm serving you, but really you're there to serve me. All right. So like the positive really like allows me to have an easy way to go back to make sure that I'm serving them. All right. When things go wrong, I realize I'm positive enough. When kids aren't listening, I haven't been listening enough. And when kids aren't like saying good things to each other, I haven't been saying enough good things. So like, and more in my classroom even than in my football because of you know just being new at Garfield and things like. So you wouldn't believe how much you get from like a little thing. So if I'm having struggle with classroom management, if I do something negative or seek control, I'm probably not going to get anything but resentment back. If I find something positive, one, I'll be calm because I'm calm down to look for something, helps the kids. Two, that little thing like picking up somebody's backpack or telling them they did a good job or something, that'll stop the room. They'll look, right? And like, cause we all know we want that kind of stuff. So that's really like, you know, I know that's not like a clean answer to it, but you know, once you've been doing it for so long, it's just second nature, you know, like it's just, so it's hard for me to even like remember the other way, you know, like it, so I feel like if when we play against Rainier Beach on Monday, if I'm authentically really doing it, really doing what I'm doing, I got to say more good jobs than Coach Sampson does, right? That's going to help me win Monday, right? You know what I mean? Look at that awesome competition, right? So now how many kids are going to get filled up with love and with like sincere affirmations of who God or the first creator or whatever you want to call it made them to be, you know? So that's kind of I love it. I can't even imagine doing it any other way.
And what about you, Coach Sampson? How do you approach coaching? Do you have a
Um,
style or?
my style is basically, I got my own style, I guess. I'm more of a this is who I am type of person. This is where I'm from. I tell the kids like, I start with a high bar, discipline wise. We have rules that you have to obey by. If you can't obey by the rules, and I'll call them in the office and have a talk with them. Then behind closed doors, then I'll let them out. My door is always open for those guys. Yeah, they can break a rule here and there, but I will always give them a second chance. Our kids are always in an environment where it's all wild and crazy when they go home. So I can't be wild and crazy at practice. When they know that I'll go through the wall for them, they'll go through the wall for me. And so they know that if I set a rule, that's the rule, and I stay by that rule. Also, I give them love. I mean, I'm always loving them. I love you, man. Good job, great job. Have a good day. Call them, check on them in their classes. Just I'll feed them. just give them that love they don't have. I'll ask them behind closed door, hey man, I see you got the same stuff on. Do you need something? I'm gonna help you out, and they like that because they know that I'm authentic, because I don't want anything from them. I just want them guys, and I tell them that all my whole class, I want you guys to come back 4 or 5 years from now with your family and your kids like, thank you, coach. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want from you guys. I want you guys to survive, and I put out real numbers for those guys. I said, look around you guys. There's about 50 of you guys. Statistic wise, some of you guys won't be around the next 4 years. And when it comes up and it really happens, they're like, damn, coach is right. And so I give them those numbers where they really think about it. And I put them in situations at practice. I put them in situations in the games. I put them in situations in classroom settings where it's going to be, you make a choice. Is it going to be a positive choice, a negative choice? And I always tell those guys, you think 3 seconds before you make a decision, and they just think it out, and then they're like, okay, you're right, coach. So a lot of it just talking to them a lot, making sure that they know in a nice tone until they really make me mad, but in a nice tone, like, hey, this is where we at. When I start yelling, then they know I'm fed up with it. Like, oh, coach ain't playing. So I just nurse them, just like a baby, just groom them, massage them, and just mold them to the young man that I want them to be. A lot of it is a lot of the people in the community, they know me. So they'll tell, hey, I know coach, he's a good guy, or he's a good player. They know me, versus it'd be a coach come from somewhere else who don't know nothing about the kids or family background. They'd be like, yeah, this coach don't know nothing about us. So and it's good. I know everybody in the community. My sons know everybody. My family's big in the community. So that's my hands-on approach with it. Just nourishing everybody and just let them know that I love them and care for them no matter what. Like, football is just a vehicle to get to where you need to get to. And then after that, you're into the real life.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, sport is such an incredible vehicle to create like all of these stimulus that happen in your like adult life, to create them in a small, more safe scale, right? So you can catch them when they fall. You can teach them those lessons before they, make life altering decisions. You can kind of implement the values and character traits early on, and hopefully they'll bloom in life. And I think that's just incredible. And I mean to the point where you guys are paying attention to the nuance of like what clothes they're wearing, like do they need all that stuff. And I get that. And it's like something where, in police work, to kind of make something akin to it, it's something that Lexi and I have always strived to do too, is just you know making those positive deposits and making as many positive interactions as possible, and not making every interaction, one of those where it's just like a coach hollering and it's like, I'm here to be the disciplinarian. Like, no, it doesn't need to always be like that. I find that when when that's the only voice and the only tone you use, like, you all know coaches who all they do is holler. They come in, their voice is raspy, all they know how to do is holler. Well, it loses its potency and you lose respect for that person because it's just like static and noise, right? But when you temper it with kindness and love, and then you come in and you need to be the disciplinarian because they deserve it, because they did something wrong, then it's like their ears perk up and it's like, oh shit, like this is a person that has earned my respect because they were kind to me. And now I need to sort of, adjust or whatever. So I definitely appreciate you guys putting so much care into how you lead. It's incredible. And I imagine, so it kind of leads me to my question, which is, this past year has been nuts for a myriad of reasons. It's just difficult to coach through, obviously the logistics of the pandemic, but also through the crazy social unrest that's going on. And you, I'm sure, deal with challenging issues with your kids. Like, you have kids, like we see kids. I mean, you have kids that are being mistreated at home, that are being, don't have what they need to meet their basic needs. They have serious issues going on. And then on top of that, this craziness of the summer pops off. And my question to you is, how have the kids challenged you to sort of meet that call to action as a leader, as a coach? I mean, what are some of the tough conversations that you're having? And I'll just start with you, Coach Rogers, if you don't mind talking about, like, what are the kids asking you and talking to you about, and looking to you for leadership regarding the, kind of the racial unrest that's been going on?
I think one of the effects of the things that happened not only this summer, but that are happening, and like we are getting an ugly side of America really uh, had a lot of influence, right, during these things. And so what you see, and similarly with the pandemic, and not taking it on as a team, right? If we take on the pandemic as a team, right, we're good. We take on racism as a team, as a country, right? Think about it. We play team ball at the beginning of the school year, at first staff meeting of this year, I was like, hey, this is going to be hard. And coach will tell you, if it's a hard game, if you think you're going to win without playing team ball, you just might as well sign up for the loss, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think that this year, right, how we adults, right, we have things that happen in our country that, and in those kids' communities, that has really sent a couple of messages. One of those messages is that, like, some things don't matter, some people don't matter, and that's probably the number one that I see with our kids, right? That oh well, moral authority is not here. They really are really lost right now, kids, and hurt in different ways. I think that, to my positive point, and something what Coach Sampson said, positive coaching doesn't mean no discipline coaching, right? We have missed this idea of discipline. Instead of discipline being like, right, I do the discipline of being a coach, right? So I learn all these skills that go with it, and I craft my whole life, right? That's that discipline that I live, right? Somebody's discipline might be a carpenter. Somebody's discipline might be, accountant or painter, right? What we have lost in that term, right? So we right now, where we've lost in this time, is kids' sense of morality is really like, they're confused, right? Imagine how confusing it is to be a teenager. We all remember that, right? So right and wrong are really confused, right? And so then, so our kids need more right now. Actually, they need more discipline. Our kids at Seattle Prep, right, especially need more discipline, right? Because we used to have rules that we followed, and now, when they see adults break that rule, right, now whatever, and so you've got entitlement in one place, and then you've got anger in another place, and you used to get this confusion. And so one of the work, both in the classroom and on the field right now, is to build structure and order back to their lives. You know what I mean? To build that these things do matter. That behaving you're not getting away with something you never really get away with it. It's going to weigh on your soul. Giving somebody something, helping people, like finding the gifts that you have that you were blessed with, and sharing them sincerely for somebody else feels amazing. It's great. Why do I want to get away with something? I want every one of our students and every one of our players, both on my team and every team we play and every classroom, to know that they're built especially for something. Right? You're built for something. You weren't built for nothing. And when you find that something, you're going to feel so good. And the world needs it. I promise you, right? They're going to build you for something the world doesn't need. So, I think with the kids today, there's a certain amount what the kids are going through, and there's a certain amount of, I think, like, unawareness or lack of awareness of this thing that's going on. We're going to really have to be, as adults, we're going to be really like community minded. We're going to have to love our service. We're going to have to voice that we love our service. Say to my kids every day, I love being your teacher. I'm so lucky. Thank you for letting me teach you. Thank you for letting me coach you. Probably I didn't say that enough because football's so fast right now. I feel like all I say is negative thing. I got to get better on my positive. Tomorrow you can count on me. I'll get there. But like we have to do that. We have to really make sure that we're intentional on creating some of that, like, moral order, and that we're not looking to get away with something. We're not looking to have power. We're looking to live in a community. You don't get that for free. We're looking to live in a strong, inclusive community. You don't get it for free. You got to work hard, and you got to build one, and you got to maintain one. And so I think, with what the kids are going through today, I wish, if I had a platform to talk to more, like, people who are parents, things like that, like, there's a high need to, like, voice and be vocal, and in a way of teaching, you externalize your thoughts, and you externalize your thoughts with them, right? So then, like, as I do, we do, you do, we need to get the I and we do. We need to, have next to us, and we need to say we love our jobs and we love it for these virtuous reasons. And then when we see them, we have to have them doing things. We have to help them, like, verbalize and get that narrative going back again of, like, virtue is good, being good to people is good, hating people hurts. It doesn't feel really good. It's just a temptation, where we talk about it. Seattle Prep, don't play for no scoreboards. You keep a scoreboard, you keep a trophy. What's that going to get me? I never seen a trophy come with me, like Coach Sampson right here. came with me to a difficult conversation that needed to be had. And I called him. We didn't even know each other that well. He was down to ride with me because of the intention I had. That's way more rewarding than any trophy's ever going to be, So we're going to be in this for the rewards, not the awards. And this desire to be in control and to be the one who my group won in this time or era over this group. All of that, our kids are not sure where to put that, and so we need to do a really good job of being open and verbal with what we're doing, why we do it, and how good it feels. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. So, Coach Sampson, how have you been navigating all these challenges with your team and your guys right now?
I've been talking to them, asking what's going on with life. Because, a lot of them are cooped up in the house, not doing much, not having much discipline, all sitting at home, not doing anything actually. A lot of it is they're scared to ask for help, and then the people that are going to help can't help. So it's kind of like, dang, what can I do? I just keep on talking to them about getting together, about being positive. Too much downtime will get you in a lot of trouble. So meetings with those guys, tell them about life, talk about life, sharing different stories about life. Talk about education. That's first and foremost. The sports, I don't care about the sports. I care about the education and getting these guys out of high school. The wins and losses of football don't matter to me. The wins and losses about life matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I had 2 players get killed last year, and and it hurts. I tell the kid that all the time. Like, I always say, don't be over at Safeway State. Safeway State is Safeway. So I call it Safeway State because nothing positive happens over at Safeway State. So make sure you go to a POU or UW or wherever. Don't be at Safeway State. Get a trade. We talk about trade school. We talk about just different things. Like I always say, a sports is just a vehicle. If you're good enough, just use it to where you need to get to. If you need some help, we're gonna help you. We're always there for you. I have a 24-hour policy. Kids in trouble, he can call me. Hey, what you need? You need some help in? I'm gonna help you out. So those are things that I've been talking with the kids about. Sports is a big thing because the kids, they love sports. They get out there, be with their buddies, get out to spend, blow some energy away, get out to have fun and just talk about life. We talked about George Floyd. We talk about the things that were going on. We talk about how to walk, how to talk. If officer comes up to you, this is what you say to an officer. Pull your pants up, how to dress. It's just proper etiquette. So those are things we talk about when you're in the inner city, because people think because you go to Rainier Beach that you're a thug, which is a wrong perception of our kids and what we have going on. We have college scholar students that are real good. So just keep on being positive into those guys. Some of them are really, really struggling off the field with food and stuff like that. So we try to give them food, try to give them resources where they can pick up food, or even Coach Hughes even takes food to their house. So we're just making sure we're on top of our game with the kids to feed their needs right now. If it's mental or physical needs that they need, we're trying to help them out, because emotionally right now, so a lot of them are down.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about both of you, and I sort of mentioned before what I saw with you, Coach Sampson, actually standing outside of that Safeway, is that people will come to you and talk to you about just about anything. And I think I've heard you say before that, if a kid isn't telling you that they might be struggling, somebody else is going to tell you that that kid is struggling. And
yeah.
And it's something that I think Callie and I have talked a lot about, and many of our guests have talked about on this podcast, is kind of getting back as officers to that place where we're so embedded in the community. You're so familiar with the community you serve that's happening on that level too. Like, it's not just like you're contacting somebody when they get to the point where there's no turning back, but it's like, oh, hey, so-and-so is struggling. Maybe just show up at their house. Hey, what can I do for you? That kind of thing. I think we have a long way to go for a variety of reasons, but I know we've talked about that, the 3 of us on other platforms. But if there's anything kind of in that theme that you think you could say to officers, that whether they work in your community or other communities like it, that they could do to kind of make steps to get there, I'd love to hear from both of you.
Yeah. And I think with this COVID thing, we started so late with the COVID thing, it slowed us down a little bit. And I think once the COVID starts settling down a little bit, we start opening up a little bit and have you guys in more, having more conversation, have the kids in there, having you in Roselle in uniform at Rainier Beach where they physically see who you guys are and just build a relationship with officers. I think that'd be great. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I always tell my kids, you know, I know where people would carry, he said, bury the dead bodies at. They're like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, whatever you do, I'm going to find out. I know everybody. So before it becomes a problem, like I had a kid, I guess he jacked somebody for a cell phone. So when the gangster guys called me for the streets, like, hey man, one of your players took my so-and-so's phone. Can you have them bring it back to me? I was like, yeah, I got you. I take it and boom, or one of your kids around the corner, he's doing something he ain't supposed to do. Come get him. I'll come over, go around the corner, and they'll be right there. So I mean, it's lovely being in a community, you know. I just want to just make sure my community is safe with everybody. You know, everybody's able to come into the community and have fun and walk through and be, instead of coming to Safeway and be on pins and needles. That's why I want to have that meeting at Safeway the first night, because I want you guys to see that these are just regular people like anybody else. They're just stereotyped. Were that, you know, I mean, you saw, I talk to everybody. Everybody talks to me, hey, coach, hey, hey, how you guys doing? I make time for everybody because that let them know that somebody cares about them. So when something happens, they know, hey, I got your back. Boom, you know, care about you. And let them know also too, if you see my young kids out there, let me know what's going on before it's too late. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, Coach Rogers, anything similar about how you would recommend to officers kind of like bridge that gap?
Yeah, I mean, I think following Coach Sampson's lead is, it's hard to see it done any other way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't develop that. You know, it takes what it takes. You know, the way is the way, and I think that understanding, you know, the work he's able to do in the community is not of, you know, it didn't come out of random, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would look and like follow and you know, develop some of the skills he has. I think, you know, at Garfield, I'm so blessed to work with so many good teachers. I love teaching at Garfield. Like there's so many good teachers and so many people who care about our kids so much, but we're still a racist institution. I do racist things, right? Not intentionally, but I do them, right? And we have systemic racism. That means that the systems of racism are going to be there until we change them. And I think that one of the things that I would say to police officers, like today, I just made a mistake today. One of my favorite students from last semester, she was amazing, or it was yesterday. She's an amazing young woman. She's a senior. I wasn't feeling very good. I was sick, and I had to write her a letter of recommendation. I didn't get it done. And I woke up to took a nap in the afternoon, trying to get together to write it and finish my day. I woke up late in the evening, and that sucked. That was my mistake, and I gotta say sorry, right? But I also have to know that as a school, if somebody down the hall from me makes a mistake, I have to say sorry, because they don't come to learn from a teacher; they come to learn at a school. And so I think one of the things that I would love to share with officers, or I'd love officers to really understand the power of sorry, in that you have to apologize for George Floyd. And you have to say, this country's never done right by you guys. It's never done right by you. And the history is that what police, right, and Black people is there. We want the future to be different. The history is there, right? How policing and Black people have gone together. That's what it is. I don't want to see tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's all we can do. And so I think that the more we get comfortable verbalizing it, the first step is so hard on that. And I think one of the blessings of coaching at Seattle Prep is the demographic I haven't really, interacted with very much in my life. And it's really challenged me as a teacher and a coach, but if I'm not the most accountable in the room, nobody else will, right? Like when I'm working with students, if I'm not more accountable than they are, right, how can they grow, right? Where can I lead them to? So I think that really police really understanding, and from a really sincere way, feeling it, grieving it, and we failed our community. We have failed our country because we say one thing and then we do another. What if we lived up to the words? You know what I mean? What if we were able to follow Martin Luther King, not just he's some hero that we don't have to think about, that he was just a hero. What about, okay, yes, Coach King. Now you told me to come together. You told me to do these things, right? So I really appreciate you guys asking me. Lexi, who actually wasn't, who was it? Ben that started it, right? With Coaches Copson.
Yeah.
That pulled my card. I can't tell my kids, right? I can't tell my kids that we're going to do it and we'll make a better world for you if I'm not willing to walk it first. And I think, in regards to leadership, a lot of times people want to ask somebody to walk a path that they won't walk themselves. And like that doesn't work. It's ineffective. So we got to do it with our feet. We got to do it any way we can, and we can't be afraid to say it, talk about it every day, because I can feel it right now, and it's hurting me that like we are moving on from that moment, and like we're like I look at babies who you know, maybe that's the next one. You know, like I got to look at students, maybe he's next, and they're hurting. That Capitol riot had such an effect on my students. I mean, we got 4.0 students. We're in class. Mr. Rogers, I can't learn today. My head is too full. And this is a 4.0 event. Like, and I said, Z, thanks for sharing. She said, of course, this is my safe space. Because we call things out as they are before it happens, right? So like before the next thing happens, I'll make sure I'm saying it's not okay. You know, I want to make sure you don't ever be treated that way. I had a student crying in class, but Mr. Rogers, if they win, you don't get to be my teacher anymore. And like that's how they're taking some of these things. So our need to say sorry and to take ownership as the adults in our community, this wasn't right. And every one of our institutions, medicine, housing, policing, these things that have a racist effect, we're changing. If you look at those Mars rovers, all how detailed and how much work and how sharp their eyes were on every little part, right, to get it there. We did that with racism. That's how we're going to get it done. We're not going to get it done any other kind of way. Like it's been such a persistent problem. And so my advice to police would be to not take that personally and see it as an opportunity, right? Maybe it'll be our generation that gets this ball, gets this ball across the goal line for real, and not just promise something that yet we've never seen, right? Like have tried to tell our kids they can trust in idealism. That where do they see it? When have they seen it? Black men lost 6 months in COVID, 3 years. It's like 3 times as much as a white man. Right? So the Black community is hurting for a lot of reasons. And we all can't sit back and say, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. In my family, we have a thing we say, I got a big family. We say, well, you can't say it wasn't me. What'd you do about it? Yeah, you did nothing, and you did nothing about it. That happened, and you did nothing about it. So you wouldn't be able to say like, well, I didn't do it. It's not a thing. We didn't do anything about it. So, you know, I think that that would go so far. And I'd really appreciate like, especially Roselle. Me and Roselle were building this relationship when we were in school at Garfield. We had this like matter of fact conversation about it then. And I really appreciate him and Lexi and Ben and everybody who's helped to work to like create a conversation where we can start building bridges together. And because that's what it's going to take. And I have a hope that you can't give it up, right? We're going to get the dream done, right? We got to all be part of the dream team, you know what I mean? So I'm okay, you can count on me, you know what I mean?
And Coach Rogers, something you said to me in a previous conversation that really resonated is like, just do something as simple as buy someone a coffee that's not expecting it. And it happened, on patrol for me recently where a kid had his car stuck really close to that Safeway, actually, Coach Sampson. And, and we rolled up, we had our lights on to help him so he didn't get hit by any cars. But you can kind of gauge the expectation just by the look on someone's face. But, we helped him push his car, we paid for his gas. And the look on his face, I think it will always be with me. It's like, here are these cops, and maybe I had this expectation of what was going to happen, but it went the different way. And I might be projecting too, I have no idea, but it filled my heart. And I think that like those small practical steps are sometimes maybe all we have the power to do on a daily basis. But like you said, making those positive deposits and like showing our community that we're there to serve them as well, right? To get them out of those hard spots that they're in. So that's something that you said that really stuck with me. Yeah.
We say in football all the time, do the little things right and the big things will take care of themselves, right? Like the scoreboard will take care of itself, and bring the gifts that your ancestors gave you to get to this goal. It'll work with every little thing you do. And I think that really is a opportunity I think that we're missing a lot, like in our communities, like just those little things. Like go to Safeway and buy somebody's groceries where Coach works, right? Go down there and buy somebody's groceries. You won't believe how much that would mean to them.
And not even that, but just having a conversation with people. A lot of people as it is when you see red and blue lights behind you, you automatically get on defensive mode because you thinking, either I'm gonna get harassed or going to jail or gonna get beat or I might end up like George Floyd. So thing is, when people the community see cops are called, it's usually someone's going to jail. It's usually domestic violence, a shooting, drug activity, or something like that. It's never cops are never coming in the community just to talk to anybody. Somebody's going to jail. So that's the thing part about it. When you see a red and blue light behind you, you're like, oh my God. So my thing is like, we got to build a trust between the officers and the people of the community so that when they do see officers, like, hey, how you doing? Versus like, oh man, I gotta run the other direction because somebody's about to get patted down, things like that. So, and I've been patted down and thrown on my knees and all those good things for no reason at all. So I mean, you're like, I don't want to deal with no police officer. So I think, years and years of being harassed and years of distrust, it's gonna take one brick at a time to build that back together. It's not gonna happen overnight. I'm not gonna expect people to be all, oh yeah, man, officer. They're gonna have their pushback. They're gonna have their like, no, I'm not, what's going on over here. So, think part of it, like we just gotta build, I mean, if two people want to join, that's fine. Three people want to join, that's even better. Then we started getting three, and then people start listening. Then they start seeing officers in the community. Now we're building trust. Not officers chasing the dope, like Mike said, but officers who are chasing relationships.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see.
If
Officers
I could add,
to serve and protect.
Yeah, if I could add on to that, Coach, like I think that's exactly that. Like, not going to get easy. It's not going to go quick.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not salty if we're on the path. And if we can't verbalize that coaches come farther over more obstacles, right? Like success in life is not about the status you have. It's about the obstacles you become. And when it gets easy for people to say Black people have obstacles, we have intergenerational trauma, right? So slave trauma is in my cells. You can find it now, right? Like that's a fact, right? It's not even debatable, right? Redlining, look at wealth, intergenerational wealth, these things. When it becomes easy to say like, man, I really think that Corey's a heck of a man because look at what he's doing, and he did it with less than I had. When that becomes easy, we stop comparing ourselves to each other and start celebrating the differences and the things that we overcome and the things that are still holding us back from just enjoying a more peaceful and happy life and existence, right? We're gonna look back and be like, hey, we were the first ones to do it. As long as it's hard to say that, like, in a group of people, I think it's really afraid, people get really afraid the first time to be like, nah, he had it harder than me. He got more, look what he did with that. Man, I can't wait to help him with the next, I'm gonna help him with anything I can, and I'm rooting for him with sincerity. And I see that, man, you came from here and now you're here. That's so rare. How can I protect you, help you keep that and keep growing and nurture it? But people are a lot of times just afraid just to even say that. It's hard for people to get out of their mouth that, like, if you don't hear me, if you don't hear Coach, we have a pain that white men don't have to deal with. We have to wonder, was that because of the color of my skin? Was it because of the way I said it? Was it, like we have that takes our time, takes our relationships. I guess what, like 9:40 right now, we're up doing this after teaching, coaching, all these things all day. But like, it's not because we want to become, and we really have to be, this is another part, we really be sincere about the service of others and bringing together. I'm not trying to be famous or anything, or like be somebody who's now important because I did this. Really look at the service. Does it help somebody? And like, after Coach Sampson called me after our first one, and he was appreciative of, like, to me in a way I didn't understand because I haven't lived in Seattle forever. So his appreciation was so sincere. And it was like, it really just drove the next behavior. Like the next behavior came just because he just said, man, I appreciate you, Coach. And, just dropped a few little things. And so by recognizing my struggle to get there, he's like, I know you didn't want to do this. He said it. He's laughing on the other end of the phone. And he's like, I've been trying to do this for a minute. And I know you didn't want to, Coach, and I really appreciate it, because I haven't had good interaction with police either. Right? My little brother was beat up by police last year. I had my face in the snow, 50 below out, for something I didn't do. So, been easy for me to not want to do that, right? And I didn't want to. I resisted. I had to fight that battle inside of me. And all it took was that one phone call afterwards, and this one didn't keep rolling, right? Because he's like, I know you've overcome some things in this, and thank you for doing this anyway, and thank you for including me. That one little thing is going to move the needle for me in my life right? And to keep going. So I think it's really important to look at those little things because we can't control everything, but there's lots of little things we can control. And one of them we can verbalize and say and become okay with that Black men, Black people, other people have disadvantages in life that we promised them they wouldn't have, and we haven't delivered on that promise. It's okay to say that, and I think that a lot of people are afraid to say that.
I think too, like one of the kind of the themes that you guys are touching on is like leading by example and our ability, I think, like I'm talking about us four, like the four of us right here to come together and say it's okay to lean on each other, to make each other whole, to make this system whole again. I think that's something that needs to happen. Like, I want to come to your school because you have developed the trust with your kids. And I want you to say, this is my friend Callie. She is like, these are her interests. This is her family life. This is what she likes to do on the weekend. She's also a police officer. That's what she does. But we are human beings. Let's get to know each other as human beings. And I want to be able to take you in my car with me, and I want you to tell me, hey, here's what I would do to bridge the gap with the community. Let's go and stop here. Let's go talk to this guy. I know this guy over here. I want you to help me, and I want to help you, like, empower us as like a career, as a entity, law enforcement entity. But we can't be afraid to lean on each other to do those things. I just think it's completely imperative. We can have conversations all day on the podcast like this, but especially for the kids, they need to see that, like, we're not afraid to engage with each other, break bread with each other. And I want to be able to take, like, whoever wants to come out and tell me, hey, here's how you can build a rapport with the community. Like, fucking show me, please, So I'm all ears for that stuff.
To cut you off, but like I say, statistics. I'm coaching 40 to 50 young Black males, and we are the ones that are always the one that either kill each other on drugs, getting harassed, getting beat up, stuff like that. So my thing is, if I can get it early where we can build a relationship with that, so they're not in the system. Because once you're in the system, it's kind of hard to get out the system. Once you're in there, you're fingerprinted and you're booked for whatever it is, it's hard. Job wise, education wise, even attitude wise. Once you get booked, your attitude just completely changes.
Well, you feel like it's your identity at that point.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Then you become rebellious. Then you become resentment to an officer or whatever it is. And you're like, man, the hell with that. But if we can get it where we can build a relationship, bond, and it's not gonna be perfect, don't get me wrong, but where they can have a little trust, like, oh, they're kind of okay. I'm not gonna go to jail if I see those guys. You know what I'm saying? I can walk by them and have a straight lace and don't have to worry about, hey, where you guys going to? What's in your backpack? Or anything like that. Or why are you driving with 4 football players? What's in that bag? And so if we can build a relationship while they're young, that'd be great. So that's my biggest thing. I want my guys to understand that you can actually be okay with an officer. And it's not always going to be, oh, you're a snitch or you're dealing with the other side or you're doing the wrong thing, because, I want the officer also to protect and serve my young man.
Absolutely.
And I think, I think to add to that, like, a person can only take so much, like, tormenting. We're not all of it, right? Like, police are not racist. I think that's something that's happening right now. If people hear this word racism or Black Lives Matter and think it's only talking about police, it happens in education. I'm an educator. It happens in education. It happens in healthcare. It happens in housing. It happens, all over the place. And so understanding that that's just a piece of it. And that only, it's called affect tolerance. People can only take so much, right? They can only take so much, right, of negativity. And so, like, if you're in a position to give somebody who doesn't have a lot of breaks a break and you don't give them that break, why would they not get mad? Why would they not get furious? Like, people get overwhelmed, right? And the amount of like racism doesn't turn off for us. We don't turn this off and not have to think about it, right? We don't, like, it's every day. And so, like, when we accept that, we're like, okay, like, I could find something they did wrong. I'm sure. Yeah, they're coping, struggling, this thing, that thing, whatever. Also, I could, like, not. Does that really have to be done? And I really think it starts with language. And, like, once we name it, we can claim it, right? And we can do something about it. right? Like, you know, but I think we really struggle to just even name it, accept this fact that's right in front of us. And so, you know, the dialogue being that we are part of it, right? It's not the whole thing, but we have to change too, to change this bigger outcome. I think, you know, I really think it'd be really powerful. You know, I think if to see a Black Lives Matter patch on a police or on a police uniform would be really powerful. And then like once you put it out there, now you got to walk your word, you know. And so like it'll change you, and it just becomes easier is what happens. Like if you just start doing it like a habit, right? But right now we just block and hold off, and you're on this side. If I say this, and now I lost to this side, and we lose this opportunity to go like, man, we lost a human being who had gifts to give this world over 9 minutes, not because of the person who did it, but because he didn't feel like he would be held accountable by the people around him, right? He felt like people wouldn't see it, right? It's not about George Floyd's skin color. It was about the fact that like this man had some hate in his heart, wanted to hurt somebody. And he knew he could probably get away hurting this person because America's gotten away doing it. So I think that's a really tough thing to get to. But once you start saying it, it just becomes easy. And now you're just moving and working. You're looking for things to change instead of like resisting. Like, well, we can't change this. We can't change that. We got to change something. So you start looking for opportunities rather than like wondering if it's you or your fault, or if it's about you, or if it's coming at you, or you know, like that's I think where people get really stuck is like, oh, but I'm not racist. That doesn't do much. That doesn't go very far. Right? I'm going to break down structures. I'm going to change things. I'm going to go march. First march will be really hard. Second march will be easy. Third march will be easy. I'm gonna go to this food bank. I'm gonna go meet coach at this and that. It's not just about me. Right? And these people need some relief of this like constant burden that people in their community don't look around and see and go, hey, I see you overcome that burden. Don't get that reward. They also don't get somebody not making that accident because they're afraid of recognizing it in themselves or what's going on and afraid of being racist. I don't think that there's like a word that you could call some people that would be any worse than racist, right? Because you're afraid of it. We live in a racist country. Let's all just accept it, move on and fix it, you know, but we resist it. So, you know, I really think I would, you know, love to hear it come off of people's lips a little easier, right? We can all see it. Might as well start to name it, claim it, and do something about
it. Yeah. Lex, questions? I know these guys are probably like exhausted.
Well, more just comments that I'm, you know, as I've said before, and I'll say many times, I'm sure to come, is I'm super appreciative of you guys giving your time to me today, but also in all the times you've given to me before. Like it just always fills my cup to talk to you guys. It gives me new sort of goals for myself and for my work as a police officer, and you know, just hope for the future. So thank you very much.
And thank you for embracing it. Thank you for taking that extra step. You know, thanks for having those conversations that some people don't want to have. You know what I'm saying? They turn the other cheek or roll their eyes and be like, oh man, you're just making up stuff. You know, I love talking to you. I love always being with our group, our Coach Coffee. I mean, it's been great the last couple months. I mean, even just touching bases on, we didn't get a chance to talk about Christmas, the holidays, hoping the kids in the community, families, the communities that went didn't have to go without this Christmas. I mean, a little bit helps. I mean, you know, the stuff that we got those guys, you guys even thank you letters and text messages, man, that was beautiful. I mean, that was the thing that I do all the time. You know what I'm saying? I try to do as much as possible. So yeah, the holidays is great, but I like to do it throughout the whole year. So those are things that with us coaching coffee next year, you know, we'll do a little bigger. I got a restaurant that's willing to give meals. So if we get a chance anytime with the next couple of months, we can go out to a homeless encampment, and I you know, he said he'll make me 50 meals, so we can do that and give it out to the homeless encampment or in the community or whatever it is. So, you know, we're just building on it and just keep on growing with what we got. Even if our group doesn't get any bigger than what it is, we're still making some type of improvement on what's going on in this world.
I would agree with Coach. I think that we got to feel the benefits a little more than you guys did of what we did this Christmas, and it was beautiful. And I just have to agree with Coach. Like, I really appreciate this, and it's hard, you know, how much joy we brought. And how long did we fundraise for? Like 3 weeks or 4
Yeah.
weeks?
It was quick. Yeah, it was quick.
And the amount of money we were able to raise, I think, was because like the virtue and us coming together. So yeah, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your desire we didn't seek you out, Lexi. You saw us out. You know what I mean? So it's like I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Even for Franco's signing thing, you know, you made it a thing to get there, man, and that's big props for that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, she's real. You know what I'm saying? So you
You should have
you
seen
have
this
won me over
conversation
before
we had
that.
in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Parking lot conversation we had. She got it on that one. That didn't go over easy at all.
Yeah. So Lexi's always been there from day one, you know, so, you know, it's been great. And like I said, and we'll continue to have a relationship outside of coaches and coffees anyway, because it's something that we have built, you know what I'm saying, as not just officers and coaches and cops, but just genuine as friends now, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I take it, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and it's always going to be like that. And I'm always going to be who I am, you know, and willing to work on getting some more officers out there and get some more coaches involved and bring you guys out and talk to my kids. Callie, you guys come out there and come out there and just, you know, just see how my kids are, have a conversation with those guys, you know, get to know those guys, say, hey, how are you doing? You know, people don't know that we have 3 guys right now that have Division I football scholarship offers.
To where are they?
One guy has 27 offers. He has Alabama. He's the #1 player on the West Coast.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. He's the number one offensive tackle on the West Coast.
I got to coach against him. I got to figure out something. We got to do something about him.
Yeah, he's the number 20th player in the nation. He has a 4.0 GPA. He has offers from Stanford, all the prestigious schools. Then I have another guy, 6'5" receiver. He just picked up an offer from Colorado the other day, which is actually my nephew. And then we have Franco Gratton Jr., which Lexi met. He signed with Fresno State, committed to Fresno State. So he's going to Fresno State. So with my little group of kids that I got, you know, we have 3 guys with Division I scholarship offers. And that speaks a lot, especially coming from a school. I mean, 1 guy is a blessing. 3 guys is amazing, you know. So the kids that come to Rainier Beach come to be student athletes, you know, so they come because they have opportunity that they know that Coach Sampson knows a lot of colleges. If they get their grades and do what they're supposed to do, they will be able to go to college on scholarship or get seen by some type of college. So, you know, that's my blessing.
This just turned into a recruiting video. Are we going to let
no.
I just tease. Especially, I think it would be so cool. You guys know and coming down in the South End and going like, so when they see you, right, they're like, oh, they're coming to congratulate you for something like good idea, right? That would be, that's the dream right there, you know, that you pull up for this, excited, like, oh, this person's gonna praise me and affirm me and encourage me.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your passion, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys for having us. You go, I'll talk to you guys very soon, and I'd love for you guys to come down sometime in the near future to Rainier Beach High School and watch us practice and just see the kids and just shake a hand and meet a friend. That's all I say, you know.
Would love to
come down there. So let me know.
It's important being that prep too that want to extend that offer to, right? We don't want to get in a place where that you know that could send the wrong message. So it's a really good combination. Me and Coach are actually talking about some things that we could do to connect our communities through like that school between that, right, beyond. So you know, really come out, and Roselle is still a hero for a bunch of kids. So
all right, love it, guys. Have a good night.
You guys have a good night. See you guys later. Bye, Lexi.
Bye.
Bye, Callie. Nice meeting you.
You too. Bye.